Imagine a deadly virus that sweeps across the globe, shuts cities down, and also overwhelms hospitals. Now I want you to ask yourself, is this something that could have been released on purpose or by accident? In this presentation, I'll be diving into one of the most controversial conspiracy theories. Was COVID 19 an engineered bioweapon? Some think there's more to the story, and some will say that it's simply a naturally occurring virus that just caught the world off guard. So, what's the real truth? Let's break it down. But first, what's a bioweapon? A bioweapon is a weapon that uses pathogens, such as viruses, bacteria, or poison, to cause death or disease in humans and plants. With that being said, welcome to my presentation. In this presentation, I'll be going over the following: the historical background, the conspiracy theory itself, evidence supporting the conspiracy, evidence against the conspiracy, what's true and what's not. Is COVID 19 really an engineered bioweapon? Before jumping into any conspiracy theories about COVID 19, first it's important to understand where this idea even came from. Bioweapons have been a concern for decades. Back in the Cold War, countries just like the US and the Soviet Union had secretly researched how to use viruses and bacteria as weapons. The Soviet Union even ran one of the largest bioweapon programs in history, and this was completely hidden from the world. There's also a long history of lab leaks. In the year 1978, smallpox leaked from a lab in the UK, and this killed a woman. SARS, which is a coronavirus similar to COVID 19, has escaped from labs in China more than once. So when a new virus like COVID 19 comes out, especially near a big research lab like the Wuhan Institute of Virology, it raises suspicions and questions. And this makes people wonder, is this bad luck or did something go wrong in a lab? According to studies, the pandemic's unclear origin, combined with how close the outbreak was to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, made people suspicious. The research shows how the lack of early transparency and limited data only fueled the public's doubt. And with this fear and confusion that came out with the pandemic, conspiracy theories started spreading fast. The idea that COVID 19 could be a man made bioweapon became one of the most talked about conspiracy theories. What if COVID 19 didn't come from a bat at a market, but it came from a lab instead? That's what this conspiracy theory suggests, that the virus was not a natural accident, but something created or modified in a laboratory, and it was either leaked by mistake or it was released on purpose. Some versions of the theory claim that COVID 19 was designed as a bioweapon, a tool used for global control or political power. However, the spotlight was often on the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and this was located just miles from the first known outbreak. This lab was already experimenting with bat coronaviruses and was raising suspicions and questions. And to add in more concerns about the lab safety and delayed reporting, suddenly people started asking, was this all the cover up? Not everyone thinks that it was on purpose. Some believe it was just a tragic accident at a lab, something that's happened before, just like viruses like SARS. And while there's no solid evidence that it was built as a weapon, the theory keeps on spreading, especially on social media. So here's where things get suspicious. The first outbreak of COVID 19 didn't happen in some random place. It started in Wuhan, China, the same city that holds the Wuhan Institute of Virology, a lab known for studying bat coronaviruses. Yes, bat viruses like the one that caused the pandemic. So this wasn't just basic research. This was the kind of research that had raised concerns for years. US diplomats was warned about the poor safety protocols at this very lab 2 years before the pandemic began. So imagine raising the alarm and then seeing a global outbreak happen right next door. Unlike past pandemic like SARS, scientists haven't found an animal that passed COVID down to humans. So this is like a missing puzzle piece. And then there's the virus itself. Some experts have pointed out a part of the virus that seems unnaturally optimized for infecting humans. Could that be a coincidence, or is there something more? While the lab leak theory sounds dramatic, most scientists agree that there's no solid proof that COVID 19 was engineered or used as a weapon. To start, Researchers have analyzed the virus's genetic code and have found no signs of lab manipulation and no suspicious editing. If someone had made it, the evidence would most likely be there. Also, the virus is extremely similar to coronaviruses found in bats and other wildlife. The way it mutates and spreads lines up with how natural viruses behave. International scientists, including those at the World Health Organization, continue to support the idea that COVID likely started from a natural spillover, like many past pandemics. A bioweapon is usually designed to be targeted and more deadly. COVID-19 hit the entire world, including China itself, with major economic and health losses. Releasing it on purpose wouldn't make any strategic sense. All in all, the science doesn't back it up, and the theory, while it is attention grabbing, falls apart under close investigation. So, what's true and what's not? First, let's take a step back and look at both sides of the conspiracy. On one hand, the theory that COVID-19 was engineered as a bioweapon points to some interesting details, like the fact that Wuhan Institute of Virology was already researching bat coronaviruses. Supporters of this theory also mention past lab leaks like SARS and ask, could it happen again? But on the other hand, scientific evidence just doesn't back up the idea of intentional creation. Multiple genetic studies have found no signs that this virus was man-made. Its structure actually looks very natural, like something that could have easily been involved in wild animal populations. Plus, history tells us that pandemics like the 1918 flu can absolutely happen without any human engineering. So what's the verdict? While the lab leak accident theory is still being investigated by experts, the idea that COVID-19 was purposely designed as a bioweapon doesn't add up. There is no solid proof, and the science leans heavily towards a natural origin. In the end, it's okay to question things, but we should question responsibly with facts and not fear. So no, based on what we know right now, we shouldn't believe this conspiracy theory claim. Thank you for taking your time to watch this presentation. I hope it provided valuable insight into the ongoing discussions that surrounds the origin of COVID-19, as well as the bioweapon conspiracy theories. Remember to always stay curious, stay informed, and always question what you hear. And thank you once again for your attention.